All right, today we are doing something really cool. We're going to dissect a custom-built AI system, one designed from scratch to solve a massive, and I mean massive, business problem. We're getting right inside the code to see exactly how a hybrid AI copilot like this comes to life. You know, this is the question that haunts basically any business that holds inventory. For a parts distributor, though, it's a multi-million-dollar question they have to ask thousands of times a day. If you order too much, you've got cash just sitting there, collecting dust on a shelf. But if you order too little, you just lost a sale, and maybe you even lost that customer for good. Yeah, getting this wrong hurts. The financial hit is immediate. But what if you could take years of messy, scattered sales data and have it give you a clear, forward-looking recommendation? See, the secret isn't just having the data. Everyone has data. It's about building a machine that can truly understand it, and more importantly, speak its language back to you in a way that makes sense. So let's really frame the core problem here. Think of it like a balancing act. On one side, you've got all the costs of having too much stock. On the other, you've got the lost sales from being out of stock. Now, this gets insanely difficult when your demand isn't nice and steady. What happens when it's sporadic, totally unpredictable? That's where things get messy. Now, let's just scale that problem way, way up. We're talking about a huge distributor managing this enormous catalog of parts. Sure, some parts sell every single day, like clockwork, but a lot of them have what we call intermittent demand. You know, they might sell 5 in 1 week, then absolutely nothing for 2 months, and then bam, an order for 20 comes in. Your standard forecasting models just completely fall apart here. So how in the world do you build a tool to fix this? Well, you build a decision machine. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the architecture of the solution, because it cleverly combines old-school data analysis with the incredible narrative power of generative AI. The whole system is basically split into 2 main jobs. First, you've got the analytical brain. This is a backend API that does all the heavy lifting, all the number crunching, all the logic. And then you've got the interactive face. This is a super simple front end where an actual person can just talk to the brain and get a straight answer. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Look how these technologies work together. The backend is a Flask API, all in Python, running the core business logic. The front end is a Streamlit app, which, by the way, is just a fantastic tool for spinning up data apps super quickly. Then you have Playwright, which is a browser automation tool, and it cleverly takes a snapshot of the dashboard, turning it into an image. And then the grand finale, Google's Gemini AI gets everything, the raw data, the visual summary, and generates this incredible expert narrative. So let's go deeper into that back end, into the brain, and see how it actually thinks. This is way more than just pulling numbers from a database. It's about applying some really sophisticated logic to make sense of that messy, real-world sales data we talked about. Right, so this is absolutely crucial. If you just took a simple sales average for those items that sell sporadically, your forecast would be dangerously wrong. So instead, the code uses a specialized statistical technique called Croston's method. It's designed specifically for this kind of on-again, off-again demand. It actually separates the timing of the sales from the size of the sales, which creates a much, much more reliable forecast. It's so smart. And this is where the system gets really proactive. It's not just a forecast. It has a core business rule baked right into its code, an ideal buying point trigger. The whole system is programmed to shout, hey, buy this now, when the current stock is projected to cover only 30% or less of the demand it expects for the season. It's seeing the problem before it even becomes a problem. And check this out, another layer of intelligence. The system actually calculates a confidence score for every prediction it makes. It looks at recent activity, like how many different customers have bought this thing recently, how many separate orders came in. A high score, like 0.95, basically tells the user, hey, this forecast is based on real, healthy, recent demand. It gives them the confidence to actually pull the trigger on the recommendation. Okay, so all of this amazing, complex analysis happening in the back end is completely useless if a real person can't easily understand it. So let's flip over to the front end and see how this machine translates all those numbers into a clear, simple conversation. The user experience was designed to be almost laughably simple. The interface, built with Streamlit, is pretty much just one input box. A purchasing manager literally just types in a product code and hits a button. That's it. They don't need to know about Croston's method or confidence scores. They just need to ask the question. And in just a few seconds, this whole chain reaction kicks off. The Streamlit front end pings the Flask backend. The backend crunches the numbers, then tells Playwright to create that beautiful visual dashboard. It bundles up all the raw data, the final calculations, and that dashboard image and ships it all off to the AI. The AI writes its analysis, and the whole report just pops up on the user's screen. It's like having an instant automated consultation. And that brings us to the final and honestly, the most game-changing piece of the puzzle, the AI Copilot. This is the magic step where raw analysis gets transformed into expert advice. It makes the system a true partner, not just a tool. Now this is a direct quote from the instructions, the prompt that's given to the Google Gemini AI. And it's fascinating, right? The AI isn't just being told, summarize this data. It's given a whole persona. It has a mission. It has a target audience. It's literally being told to act like a seasoned expert whose entire goal is to make complex things easy to understand. The prompt engineering here is just meticulous. I mean, look at this. The AI is told to use specific emojis to signal things quickly. It's instructed to focus 90% on the business meaning and only 10% on the technical stuff. It has to follow a super strict 6-part structure for every single analysis it does. It's even told to refer back to the dashboard image, connecting the picture with the story. This is how you build an AI assistant that's consistent, reliable, and genuinely helpful. So, when you put this all together, what does a system like this really mean for a business? Well, it's nothing short of a fundamental shift in how people can interact with their own data. The real value here is speed and clarity, a process that could have taken a human analyst hours. I'm talking digging through spreadsheets, trying to build charts, writing up a summary. All of that is now compressed into just a few seconds. It basically democratizes expertise, putting the power of a senior analyst into the hands of anyone who needs to make a call. And really, what this all boils down to is that this tool isn't just looking in the rearview mirror at what already happened. It is a proactive engine. By anticipating what the business will need and providing super clear, actionable next steps, it lets the company get ahead of the curve. It turns their data from a boring historical record into a real competitive weapon. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? This particular system was built to solve an inventory problem. But the pattern, combining a logical backend, a simple UI, and an AI narrator, is an incredibly powerful recipe. It really makes you wonder, what complex, data-heavy process in your company is just sitting there, waiting for its own custom-built AI Copilot?